Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. It is an honor to stand before you and talk about a subject that is often misunderstood: anger. When we think about anger, we tend to associate it with negativity, aggression, or loss of control. But what if I told you that anger, when understood and channeled correctly, can be a powerful tool for success? What if this emotion, often labeled as destructive, could actually be a force for good? Anger is often misunderstood as a purely destructive emotion, but it is not inherently negative. Like all emotions, anger serves a purpose. It is a natural response to situations that feel unjust, unfair, or frustrating. At its core, anger is an indicator that something in our environment or within us needs attention. Rather than being dismissed or suppressed, anger should be acknowledged and explored for its deeper meaning. When we feel angry, our bodies and minds are signaling that a boundary has been crossed or that we perceive a threat to our values, goals, or sense of self. This response is deeply rooted in our evolutionary history, where anger played a crucial role in survival. It prepared our ancestors to respond to threats with energy, focus, and action. In modern times, while the threats may be less physical, anger still holds the potential to motivate and protect. The negativity often associated with anger comes not from the emotion itself, but from how it is expressed or managed. When anger is misdirected or uncontrolled, it can lead to destructive behaviors like shouting, blaming, or aggression, which harm relationships and hinder progress. However, when anger is understood and channeled appropriately, it becomes a powerful force for change and growth. It can fuel resilience, drive creativity, and inspire action. For instance, consider the many social movements throughout history that were sparked by collective anger at injustice. Figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and Mahatma Gandhi turned their anger at oppression into a commitment to peaceful yet impactful action. Their anger wasn't destructive, it was transformative. It gave them the energy to persevere and the clarity to channel their emotions toward meaningful change. On a personal level, anger can also be a catalyst for self-improvement. When you feel angry about a setback or an unfair situation, it is an opportunity to reflect. What caused this reaction? Is there something you can learn or do differently to prevent it from happening again? Anger, when paired with introspection, can lead to constructive outcomes like setting better boundaries, improving skills, or striving for greater achievements. The key lies in mastering the emotion rather than letting it master you. Recognizing anger as a signal rather than an enemy allows you to channel its energy productively. By pausing, reflecting, and directing your response thoughtfully, you can harness the power of anger to overcome challenges and drive positive change. In this way, anger, far from being inherently negative, can be a valuable ally on the path to personal and collective growth. Frustration is a powerful emotion that, when properly harnessed, can serve as a catalyst for motivation. It often arises when we feel blocked, overwhelmed, or dissatisfied with our current circumstances. However, frustration should not be seen as an obstacle to success, but rather as a signal that change is necessary. It's an emotional response that indicates something is out of alignment, whether it's an unmet goal, an unresolved problem, or a perceived injustice. Recognizing this signal and using it to fuel positive action is the key to turning frustration into motivation. When we face setbacks or obstacles, it's easy to become disheartened or overwhelmed. Frustration often feels like a wall we can't get past, but if we shift our perspective, that wall can become a stepping stone toward growth. Instead of letting frustration paralyze us, we can choose to let it energize us. It's important to remember that frustration is a reaction to our desire for something better, whether that's a career advancement, personal achievement, or a solution to a problem. In essence, it's proof that we care deeply about the outcome we are striving for. Turning frustration into motivation starts with acknowledging it and using it as fuel for action. Instead of stewing in negative emotions or letting frustration dictate our mindset, we can channel that energy into finding solutions. Ask yourself, what is it that's making me frustrated? What can I do differently to overcome this hurdle? This shift in mindset helps to reframe frustration as a challenge rather than a dead end. By seeing frustration as an opportunity for problem solving, we create a proactive approach to handling adversity. Moreover, frustration can provide clarity about our goals and values. When something is difficult or hasn't gone as planned, it often signals that there is a lesson to be learned or a growth opportunity to embrace. For example, if you're frustrated with your progress at work, it may highlight areas where your skills are lacking or where you need more support. If you're facing difficulty in a personal relationship, it may point to communication issues or unmet needs that require attention. Instead of running away from frustration, we can lean into it and ask ourselves, what does this feeling reveal about what truly matters to me? Ultimately, frustration is a signal that we are pushing against our limits, and this is often where growth happens. When we allow it to motivate us, we move beyond our current limitations and grow stronger, more focused, and more determined. Frustration, when directed correctly, is not an enemy. It is a powerful ally that can propel us toward greater achievements. By acknowledging our frustration and using it to drive action, we transform what could be a roadblock into a pathway to success. Anger often arises in response to external events or situations that we perceive as unjust, unfair, or frustrating. It's an emotional reaction that can be triggered by people, circumstances, or our own expectations not being met. However, the way we choose to express and direct that anger can make all the difference. When anger is misdirected toward people, whether it's blaming others, lashing out, or becoming defensive, it can lead to harm, damaged relationships, and wasted energy. Instead, focusing anger on the problem itself rather than the people involved transforms it into a constructive force for change. When we direct our anger toward a person, whether it's a colleague, family member, or stranger, we often create a cycle of negativity that escalates the conflict. People become defensive when they feel attacked and communication breaks down. In these moments, the original issue is often lost in the emotional turmoil, and we become distracted by the need to win the argument or prove ourselves right. This creates more frustration and no real progress toward resolution. On the other hand, when we focus anger on the problem itself, we shift the energy from personal conflict to finding a solution. For example, if you're angry about an inefficient system at work, instead of blaming a colleague for the delays, you can direct that frustration toward improving the process. You could propose new strategies, work together to identify weaknesses, or take personal initiative to find better solutions. This not only resolves the issue more effectively, but it also fosters collaboration and mutual respect. Focusing on the problem instead of people also requires a level of emotional maturity and self-awareness. It involves taking a step back and reflecting on the root cause of your anger. Is the anger a result of a mistake you made? A misunderstanding? Or is it a systemic issue that needs attention? By addressing the underlying issue rather than getting caught up in blaming others, you create a path forward that encourages problem solving rather than resentment. Additionally, when anger is focused on the problem rather than the person, it can be empowering. It shifts your role from a passive reactor to an active participant in creating change. Rather than feeling helpless or victimized, you regain control over the situation. This perspective not only helps you stay calm and level-headed, but it also enables you to approach challenges with a sense of purpose and determination. In the long run, focusing anger on the problem allows for growth and resolution. It avoids unnecessary conflict and fosters better relationships as people feel respected and heard. When we learn to channel our anger towards solving problems, we move toward positive outcomes and become more resilient, both personally and professionally. Anger, when channeled properly, has the potential to drive innovation and spark creativity. While it is often seen as a disruptive emotion, anger can also serve as a powerful motivator for change. In many cases, frustration with the status quo or dissatisfaction with existing conditions pushes individuals to think outside the box, challenge the norm, and develop innovative solutions. The key is to transform anger into a force that drives progress, rather than letting it spiral into destructive behavior. One of the most potent ways anger drives innovation is by revealing gaps or inefficiencies in systems, products, or processes. When individuals or communities are angry about something that isn't working well, whether it's a flawed policy, a product failure, or a social injustice, that anger can highlight the need for improvement. This frustration compels people to ask, why is this happening and what can be done differently? Anger often shines a light on problems that otherwise might have gone unnoticed or ignored. The discomfort that anger generates can be a powerful call to action. Historically, many great innovations were born from anger or dissatisfaction. For example, many social and technological advancements stemmed from individuals who were frustrated by the limitations of the time. Think of the early days of civil rights movements where anger over racial inequality drove people to demand change. Similarly, in the world of technology, many innovations such as the development of new software or better tools were sparked by frustration with outdated systems or inefficient methods. The desire to change the existing order or overcome an obstacle became the driving force behind invention and progress. In business, anger at underperformance or missed opportunities has led to major breakthroughs. Entrepreneurs who were dissatisfied with current products or services often set out to create something better. For instance, the development of personal computers and smartphones came from the frustration that the existing technology did not meet people's evolving needs. Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple, was known for his passionate drive to create products that would revolutionize the tech industry. His own frustrations with technological limitations and user experiences led to the creation of iconic products that changed the way we live and work. Anger can also fuel perseverance in the face of failure. When innovators encounter setbacks, their anger at the inability to achieve their goals can propel them to push harder, work smarter, and try new approaches. Instead of giving up, they use their anger to fuel persistence and creativity. This mindset allows them to view challenges as opportunities to innovate rather than as barriers. When managed correctly, anger does not have to be a destructive force. Instead, it can serve as a catalyst for meaningful change. It opens up possibilities, highlights areas for improvement, and inspires action. Anger, when directed towards solving problems and creating solutions, becomes a powerful tool for driving innovation. Anger is a natural and unavoidable human emotion, but what distinguishes those who succeed in managing their anger from those who let it spiral out of control is the ability to master it. Anger, left unchecked, can quickly escalate, leading to irrational decisions, hurtful words, and damaged relationships. However, when we take control over our anger, we not only prevent it from taking a destructive path, but also use it as a force for positive change. The key to success lies in not allowing anger to control us, but rather learning to control it. The first step in controlling anger is recognizing it early. Anger doesn't always start with an outburst or a sudden eruption of emotion. It often begins with a simmering feeling of frustration, irritation, or injustice. By becoming more aware of the physical and emotional cues that signal anger, such as clenched fists, rapid heartbeat, or a rising sense of frustration, we can take steps to address the emotion before it escalates. Recognizing anger in its early stages allows us to choose how we respond, rather than reacting impulsively. Once we recognize our anger, the next step is to take a pause. This is where emotional intelligence comes into play. Instead of allowing the heat of the moment to dictate our actions, we can use techniques such as deep breathing, counting to 10, or stepping away from the situation. Taking a moment to clear our minds helps to regain perspective and prevent emotional outbursts. During this pause, we can reflect on what has triggered our anger and decide on the most constructive way to handle the situation. Control also comes from reframing our thoughts. Often, anger stems from perceived injustices, unmet expectations, or a sense of being wronged. In these moments, we can choose to shift our mindset. Instead of dwelling on the negative aspects of the situation, we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? How can I approach this challenge in a way that moves me forward, rather than getting stuck in frustration? Reframing the situation can turn anger into a motivating force, helping us focus on solutions rather than problems. Another critical aspect of controlling anger is taking responsibility for our emotions. It's easy to blame others or external circumstances for our anger, but true control comes from acknowledging that we are responsible for how we choose to react. No one can make us angry unless we allow it. By accepting ownership of our feelings, we empower ourselves to choose a more measured, thoughtful response. Finally, practice is key. Like any skill, managing anger takes time and effort. The more we practice self-regulation and mindful responses, the more naturally it will come to us in the heat of the moment. By learning to control anger, we not only protect ourselves from making hasty decisions, but also improve our relationships, mental well-being, and ability to face challenges with clarity and purpose. When we take control over our emotions, we transform anger from a destructive force into a powerful tool for positive change. Success is not solely determined by skills, intelligence, or external circumstances. It is deeply influenced by our ability to master our emotions. Emotions, whether positive or negative, have the power to guide our actions, shape our perceptions, and influence our decision-making. Those who achieve lasting success are often those who have learned to understand, regulate, and channel their emotions effectively. Mastering emotions is not about suppressing them, but about gaining control over how we react to them, ensuring that they propel us forward rather than hold us back. At the core of emotional mastery is self-awareness. Understanding what triggers our emotions, whether it's frustration, excitement, fear, or anger, gives us the ability to anticipate our reactions and choose a more thoughtful, deliberate response. For example, if we recognize that stress tends to cloud our judgment, we can take steps to manage it before it leads to poor decision-making. Self-awareness allows us to step outside of our immediate reactions and assess situations with greater objectivity, enabling us to make wiser choices that align with our long-term goals. Regulation of emotions is another crucial aspect of emotional mastery. Emotional regulation involves managing the intensity and expression of our feelings in a way that is productive and appropriate to the situation. For instance, in high-pressure situations, those who are able to remain calm and composed are better equipped to think clearly and make decisions that contribute to success. On the other hand, those who allow their emotions to control them, whether through outbursts of anger, anxiety, or impatience, can often undermine their progress and alienate others in the process. Emotional regulation empowers us to respond to challenges with poise, confidence, and focus. Moreover, mastering emotions doesn't mean we suppress negative feelings or deny their existence. Negative emotions, such as fear or sadness, are often signals that something needs attention or change. Instead of ignoring these emotions, successful individuals learn to use them constructively. Fear, for example, can be a motivator to prepare better or take precautions, while sadness can deepen our empathy and understanding. Recognizing that negative emotions can provide valuable insights allows us to transform them from barriers into stepping stones for growth. Another key element of emotional mastery is resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks. Life is full of challenges, and it is inevitable that we will experience disappointments and failures. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up often lies in how they handle adversity. Instead of being overwhelmed by negative emotions in the face of failure, successful individuals embrace them, learn from the experience, and persist in the pursuit of their goals. Resilience is built through emotional mastery as we develop the strength to move past setbacks and keep pushing forward. In the end, success is about more than achieving external goals. It is about the inner journey of mastering our emotions and becoming the best version of ourselves. When we learn to navigate our emotions with awareness, regulation, and resilience, we unlock our true potential and create lasting success in all areas of life. By mastering emotions, we not only become more effective in our pursuits, but also more fulfilled and balanced as individuals. Success is truly born from the ability to control the emotions that would otherwise control us.